Welcome to my office. My name is Pastor Jim Hoggett, Coeur d'Alene Open Bible Church. And let's see, I have an intake form here, and we have Priscilla, and on this side we have Aquila. Now I understand you guys used to live in Corinth. Before that you lived in Rome, and they chased you out of Rome. And you were friends with Paul the Apostle in the book of, well, let's see, find him a lot in the book of Acts and most of the New Testament. But he sent you into my office. He says we need to talk about some marriage counseling. So I want to talk to you a few minutes about different styles that people use to relate to each other. There's a guy named Grinder in our day who has come up with 5 different styles in marriage counseling. One of the styles is called devitalized, where couples are together but they're not touching in any way. In fact, it's almost as if they're going opposite directions. Devitalized often ends up in divorce. Okay? But another style we have is called conflict habitual. They're together, but all the time they're together, they're always fighting over things. They're habitually in conflict. That's not a very rewarding way to live. Another style is called a parallel, where 2 people live together, but they're not touching in any way. They may be going the same direction. He has his career and she has hers, and maybe they have the same goals, but there's no real touching in the relationship. That's called a parallel. And then we have one, let's see, I'll go over here. This is called a vital family. And then we have one over here, we'll call it a total family. Now, let me describe a total family. If I was going to go into the Bible and I was going to look up examples of a total family, I'd probably go to this couple named Priscilla and Aquila. Because a total family, they live together, they work together, they're together 24 hours, 7 days a week. They're like right on top of each other. We have some families that are missionaries, and they live in the same missionary complex, and they drive in the same Jeeps to go to outposts. They're always with each other. That's a little smothering for me. The total would be right on top of each other. But the one that I think works best for me is the one called vital. Vital is when I have my job and she has her job, and she has her friends and I have my friends, and I have things that I do, but we have times that we meet and times that we're separated. We have a vital thing. Now, in relationships, we have a guy named John Gray who's talked about this thing called men are from Mars, women are from Venus, and it says that men and women relate to each other in different ways, and their emotional things are done differently. With a female, her emotions are a lot like radio waves. Up here she's at the top, and then for no other reason she'll come down to the bottom, and when she's at the bottom, wow, she feels like everything's bad. The house is bad, the car is bad. She starts talking about how bad things are. The problem is that males are from Mars, and we're supposed to find solutions to that. So we get upset because we say, well, I guess it's all my fault, and we try to fix her problems. That's not what she wants. So she wants us to be able to be heard. And so when I can do this, I can't do it all the time, but once in a while, I can keep my mouth shut and not try to fix her problems and just listen to my wife talk. And as I'm listening to her, I say these words. They're real simple. Ah. Oh. Now the next 2 are phrases. So what happened then, and how did you feel then? And what it is, it's a green light that says to her, tell me more, give me more. I want to know, tell me more. And so she finally found somebody who can listen to her. It's a wonderful experience when you realize that there's somebody else in the world who understands how you feel. All of a sudden, you're not alone. And guys, all you got to do is say this. Ah. Oh. You don't say you're agreeing with her. You don't say that makes a lot. You don't do anything. You just say, ah. And the green light, so what happened then? And how did you feel then? And all of a sudden, they take a switch and they go back up here and they're on top of this cycle again and they say, wow, you're my hero. You did such a great job. And you go, all I did was listen to her. Now with males, it's a little different. With males, it's a lot like a rubber band. We have times that we like to be close and intimate, and times we need to do a little stretching away. And it's just a normal cycle that we go through. There's nothing bad or nothing wrong with this, but there are times being close is just great. There's times we need to be a little bit separated. And so guys have their rituals they do. They go out hunting. Aquila, I understand you're a hunter and you like to do hunting. And that's the time that you separate a little bit. Okay? And then you have times that you come back together again, and all of that's just fine. Because he's from Mars, and on Mars, it's important to be adequate to find solutions to the problems. If he has a problem, sometimes he needs to separate a little bit. Get himself in a spot where he can find a solution to his problem, and he goes into his cave. Excuse me. We've invented something called a man cave. Now, a man cave can be a TV show. He's watching football. He's got 5% of his brain is watching the football, but 95% of his brain is trying to find an answer to this problem. So he goes into his man cave. Now, the Indians in the United States used to say an interesting thing. This mother would say to her daughter, your squaw someday is going to have a problem. And he's going to need to go into his cave. And when he goes into his cave, he's going to work on finding an answer to that problem. She said, now, let him go. Don't follow him into the cave. If you follow him into the cave, you get burnt by the dragon who guards the entrance of the cave. Well, that's so much we have for this week, and we'll pick this up next week. Thank you very much.